Hey everybody, it's Bobby from KCA Ranch and Homestead. Sorry about the loud noise. I've got 3 fans running in the shop and some Led Zeppelin in the background. So sorry about the noise. I'm making a mobile workbench. Some of y'all saw some of my shop videos. I don't really have any workbenches. I've got a little see if I can switch. A little Black & Decker Workmate that I inherited from my dad, so this thing's probably 40 to 45 years old. Got a little plastic stand for my miter saw. I've got some sawhorses with a door on top. And then I've got a few miscellaneous little tables. But what I want to have here in the middle of the shop is about a 6 foot by 4 foot mobile workbench. I've got the lumber here, 4x4s for legs, 2x4s for frames. I've got some 6-inch casters that are going to go on the bottom, heavy duty casters. And I haven't decided on the top yet, so I'm just accounting for a 3/4 inch top in my measurements to make a 35-inch work height table. First thing I'm going to do, I've cut my legs, my 4 legs. They're 28¼ inches, and now I'm making lap joints to make everything strong. So if you're not familiar with a lap joint, I don't have any fancy tools. So basically I'm taking my Milwaukee skill saw, I guess, for lack of a better word. I've set the blade height to 1.5 inches, which is the width of a 2x4 right there. And then this is 3.5 inches, which is the other width of the 2x4. So I'm making multiple cuts along that 3 inches, and then I'm going to knock these pieces out with a chisel and a hammer, smooth that out, and that's going to be a big notch that the 2x4 is going to lay in. I'm going to do that at each end on all 4 legs. It's going to take a while, and that's going to provide some joints that I will glue and screw with the 2x4s to make my frame. It's going to make it a lot stronger than just attaching a 2x4 directly to the board and screwing or lag bolting it in. They're going to fit together right here like a puzzle piece. Let me see if I got this little paper. Kind of see that joint right there. That's what it's going to look like, and the 2x4 will lay up against that to make it stronger. Anyway, that's what I got going on today. I do got a little self-gift thanks to Amazon Prime, which will be the subject of some future videos. Arc Captain welder. It's called the MiG 200. The good thing is it's called the MiG 200, but it does stick welding, MIG and flux core. It's where you put your wire at. Come with all the different size rollers and everything. It came with the gas cable that goes in the back when I run a bottle of gas. Ground clamp. So anyway, I still got some stuff to buy since I've never owned a welder. Helmet, gloves, some welding rods for stick welding, and some wire for MIG welding. Not sure if I'm going to use gas or not. Anyway, just wanted to show you all that. I'm going to get back to making these lap joints on the end of each 4x4 leg, and then I'll get back to you. Now I'll just take the chisel and knock this out. Rough, but it'll work. Yeah, I'm on my last leg and my wood chisel got very dull. Started tearing wood. It wasn't cutting, so if you're familiar with a knife sharpener, I use the green blade. You can do everything from sharpening lawnmower blades to big heavy machetes and things. I'm gonna use it to touch up this old wood chisel that I got from my dad. I don't even know how old this thing is, but I'd venture to say 50 years old easy. But it's gonna be hard to film, but I'll try. So the belt's running over this way. So I'm gonna try to get the angle right. Okay, I got the 4 legs notched out from my lap joints. Had some mess ups, of course, because of knots or grains in the wood, and I ripped out a little more wood than I wanted to, but it's just a workbench. As my dad said, we're not building watches, son. Anyway, I made a mess, but really loving the new shop. Semper Fi to all my Marine viewers. Love you, Blue. To my law enforcement buddies. And thanks to all the Texas Bow Hunter members who held a fundraiser for me and another guy when we had colon cancer. Raised a bunch of money for us to help pay medical bills and hospital stays and hotels. Lone Star Bowhunters Association, TexasBowhunter.com, Buffalo Field Archery Club in Houston, Texas. Great group of ladies and gents. Welcome to the office. Sit down and let's talk about your case. Alright, I'm gonna call it a day, but I got the lumber cut out for the main square frame that's gonna rest inside these joints here. It's gonna kind of be sitting like that, and then these long runners right here are gonna be here. And then another end piece, and then repeat. So I'm gonna have 2 identical frames. One will be up here on top, and then one will be down here on bottom. And then I'll have 3 cross braces going this way, probably using like a lap joint that kind of sits on top. So the end of the board will be notched out, just to make it a little tighter. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Got a mess. Should have done this outside, but it was just too hot. Alright, y'all have a good one. Hey guys, I'm back about a week later after the first little clip, working on the workbench again, or the mobile work table. Let me show you what I'm doing. So this is the frames. I told you in the first video that I'm going to, or the first clip, that I'm going to be building 2 identical frames. These are about, I believe, let me take a look, 65 inches long, so 5'5" on these boards. And then I've got these end pieces that are I believe 43 or so, and then these braces in the middle. Everything was squared up on the ground, hopefully square. Floor was almost perfect. Anyway, so like I said, I built 2 of those. The other one is over here on this bench. It's exactly the same. It's going to be the top. This is going to be the top where my plywood or whatever I decide to put as my tabletop down here. So basically it's upside down, and I'm attaching those legs that I made with the lap joints. Now you can see how they work. So I'm attaching those with screws and glue, They rest inside on that lap joint to make them stronger. They don't fit perfect because I used a skill saw, which is not perfect for making my lap joints, but it's good enough for government work. So I've got to put on, I'm using a square clamp down. So you can see that's out of square, but when I start putting it together, I'm going to square it up. And I have one more over here, and then I will set that frame right there inside this lap joint, and it's going to be the bottom shelf, and then I will flip it over and I'll put my casters on, my wheels on, and then flip it over, and it'll be a rolling work table without a top until I decide. I still haven't decided, but anyway, I'll try to put all the measurements in the description. But there will be some overhang on my top, probably be some 3/4 inch plywood or something like that, MDF or whatever it's called, but it'll be an overhang, this much overhang, which is good because then I can clamp wood or pieces to it. And anyway, I'll be happy with it, I hope. Alright, I'll check back in and show y'all some results when I get it put together. Bye. Okay, sorry about the noise. I've got the new master fan on, 36-inch shop fan. Anyway, I've got the table upside down. 4 legs are attached. Square as I could get them. They're not perfect due to the cuts. You can see some of the cuts are just not pretty because of the wood, the chisel and hammer part. But now I'm going to lay this one right here on the same type of rails that I did on the other one. And let's see if it'll fit. If it doesn't fit, I'm going to make it fit. I'll be right back. Okay, it fit pretty darn good. I'm going to have to do a little bending and screwing to get it perfect because the legs are not exactly 90 degrees, but they're pretty darn close. So I'm going to attach this one just exactly the same way I did that, with screws from the inside. And the outside. 3.5-inch wood screws. If all this goes together as planned with the casters, it's going to be a very solid work table. And I'll have it here in the middle where I can move it around underneath this shop light if I want to. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright guys, I got the top the top frame on, the bottom frame on, which will be the shelf. I got my 4 heavy duty 6-inch casters on. Let's give her a test drive. That's what I'm talking about. Got some brakes on there so I can lock it down. Luckily my shop floor is really level. They did a good job pouring the slab. That's going to replace a bunch of my little stuff that I worked on. Now I just got to research top and a shelf, and I'll be good to go. Okay folks, I finished up the mobile workbench top. I did forget to pick up a piece of plywood for my shelf. I'm going to build something underneath there to store some regularly used tools. But anyway, it didn't turn out the best. Everything wasn't perfectly square due to mainly these legs not being, they were square down there when I set it up, but I had to fight with them to get them semi-square. Make some long cuts with the skill saw, which weren't great, but anyway, it's a removable top, not a big deal. I'm about to coat it with some stuff. But I've got I can clamp onto here with a wide clamp, and then I've got a 2-inch deep offset in between these legs that I can clamp either a deep clamp or a shallow clamp on here. Anyway, it turned out all right. So some of the tools that were a lifesaver today. So first of all, 4-inch screws were perfect. Man, I drilled a pilot hole with the Milwaukee M12 with a small bit. I can't remember the size. So I drilled my pilot holes up through the bottom, and then came back with the old faithful M18 impact with a I think it's a T25 Torx, and these deck screws from the bottom, and pushed them in just a little bit into the 2x4, and they came up exactly about halfway up through the MDF top. So anyway, that's about it. I appreciate y'all following along. Obviously not a craftsman. I've got split wood. I'm real disappointed in the quality of these 4x4s. I probably should have just paid the extra for the treated instead of these cheaper, I don't even know what they are, just pine. They had lots of splits, but it'll do for what I'm using it for. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Later.